Well, ladies and gentlemen, UncleClaude is back with some more NFL picks. And here we go. So far over the last 2 weeks, my record has been respectable. Hasn't been great, but it is respectable for the first 2 games of the season. Right now, I have a record of 17-14. That is a winning percentage of 5.48. Now, before I start my picks, let me explain how betting works for those of you who are just learning how to bet. And I have to thank one of my subs, Torlover, for that. Like, for example, if a team is favored by 3.5, they have to win by 4 points or more. Let's say, for example, the Buffalo Bills are playing the Jets and the Bills are favored by 7.5. If the Bills win 34-31, you lose because they did not cover the spread. In this case, the spread was 7.5. The Bills have to win by 8 or more points in order for you to collect on that win. So if the Bills win by anything less than 7.5 points, you lost. But if, on the other hand, let's say the Los Angeles Rams were playing the San Francisco 49ers, and the Niners are favored by 3, and the Niners beat them 27-17. Well, San Francisco is favored by 3. They won by 10. You win that bet. It's time for you to get your money. So that is how, in a nutshell, betting works. So with that being said, let's start off with tonight's game, where my Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are favored by 4.5. Now, the Steelers lost a tough game where literally the quarterback basically threw the game away. I mean, Mitch Trubisky was terrible, which I expected. And for the Cleveland Browns, Jacoby Brissett did not get the job done, but it was the Cleveland Brown defense that let them down. Because, let's face it, Joe Flacco went absolutely nuts. And the Jets have a future superstar wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. That kid's a stud. Now, I know that there are a lot of Steeler fans calling for the Kenny Pickett era to start, and I understand that. Now, if he comes in because Trubisky stinks, I understand it. But for them, they couldn't start giving Kenny Pickett short game reps because, remember, this is a short work week for the Steelers. It would not be fair. You want to give, if you're going to turn over the reins to the kid, because once you ring that bell, you cannot unring it. Once you do that, you have to make sure that he gets a full week of preparation in. So if Mitch Trubisky is horrible tonight, I do expect him to turn it over to Kenny Pickett. He'll have a long week. Remember, since the Steelers are playing tonight, they won't be playing this Sunday. He'll have a full 12. He'll have 12 days to get the job done. This preparation, get reps with the first team, get himself acclimated. You don't want to just throw him into the fire unless this guy is abysmal again. And that could happen because, let's face it, he's bad. Now, the other part of it is Jacoby Brissett is not great either. Now, even though they have Nick Chubb, and I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns, and of course, Myles Garrett could wreck the game, but Jadeveon Clowney being injured actually helps the Steelers. They can rotate their offensive line, chip Myles Garrett. As you can see, the secondary of the Cleveland Browns is not exactly their strong suit. Remember, the Browns are favored by 4.5 points. They should never be favored 4.5 anything. I don't care where they're at. I see my computer is acting wacky here. Not just, now you know I picked against the Steelers the last 2 weeks because I'm a fan of the Greenbacks. But here, I love the Steelers. Four and a half points is way too much for the Cleveland Browns, especially against a division rival like the Steelers. I love Pittsburgh here 20-17 over the Cleveland Browns. Next up, the Houston Texans are taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, the Texans have played much better than I expected. And Davis Mills has actually played pretty good at the quarterback position. In fact, he's played a lot better than Justin Fields. Now, he did win a game in the slop in Chicago. Now, last week he got shellacked in Green Bay. Now, I don't know which Justin Fields is going to show up tonight. Sunday afternoon, excuse me. Have to remember, I'm a Steeler fan. I'm looking forward to seeing my team tonight. But he's got to play better. And he better play better because he made a mistake where he called out the Chicago Bear fans. Now, Bear fans have a very long memory, and they don't take too kindly to that. And I understand what he was trying to say. I mean, he did make a slip of the tongue, no question about it, but you cannot make that mistake when you are the supposed franchise quarterback and you haven't exactly been lighting it up. The Bears defense got lit up. And I tell you what, I know the Bears are favored by 2.5. The Texans have played close games. They actually should have won against the Colts. I like Houston here. That is one of my upset specials. I like the Houston Texans 23-20 over the Chicago Bears. Now remember, if the Bears actually win this game, let's say they win it 23-21, that means you lose because they did not cover the 2.5 spread. They have to win by 3 or more. Please remember that while or if you're betting. And I am not condoning betting here, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm just letting you know how it works, okay? Now, next up, we have the Los Angeles Raiders. I don't know how they lost that game. But they messed up my picks, let me tell you. A couple of teams blew my picks out the water where I was living on Easy Street. But the LA Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens messed me up, man. How they let Murray beat them like that, that was absolute disgusting. And kudos to Mr. Murray, no question about it. He is definitely a franchise quarterback, and he's the only reason that Cliff Kingsbury still has a job. But now they go into Tennessee. And I tell you what, the Titans haven't exactly looked great either. Got beat by the Giants in overtime. Got shellacked Monday night by the Buffalo Bills. You know what? Without A.J. Brown, that receiving core looks real ordinary. Lost Jonnu Smith a couple of years ago. Ryan Tannehill has always been a C-minus quarterback. And there's a lot of tread on Derrick Henry's tires. The Raiders should have won last week. And I understand the Titans are at home. You're getting only 1.5. Roll with the Raiders, who are starving for a win. Already behind the 8 ball, 0-2 in that tough AFC West. I mean, they might already be out of sight because the way Kansas City's playing, they're playing like a team on the mission. Also, I love the Raiders here at 34-27 over the Tennessee Titans. Now, the next game I have are those aforementioned Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs go on the road to take on those Indianapolis Colts. They have been dreadful. Man, the Colts, I tell you what, if you look up shot quarterback, hey, Michelle's daughter, how you doing? So good to see you. You look up shot quarterback in the dictionary. I definitely appreciate you. You know I appreciate you, Mom. I hear that. You look up shot quarterback in the dictionary, that's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan shot. I mean, he never did have the strongest arm. And you would think he would do better with Jonathan Taylor. In fact, I don't know if they even they utilize him, but to me, not enough. That receiving core, Michael Pittman's okay. They're okay. They're not great. That offensive line is okay. Not as great as it was when they had Costanza. The defense has let them down a lot, too. I'm very shocked. But Matt Ryan, he's just one of those guys, man. When he's going good, he's good. When he's bad, he's off. I think we'll get the in-between Matt Ryan. But the problem is, Pat Mahomes might be playing his best quarterback. And that's including a couple of years ago when they won the Super Bowl. Because he's spraying it around. It's not just, obviously he doesn't have Tyreek Hill, but he's got Travis Kelce still. And he's got the intermediate game with Juju Smith-Schuster. He's got a couple of burners. Chiefs defense has played pretty well. This is a team on a mission. They want to let everybody know, listen, pump the brakes. I understand we lost the Bengals. But have you seen the Bengals lately? Who would you rather be, Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes? I think the answer to that one is simple. Kansas City, 31. Chiefs, 24. It's 6.5. But I think the Chiefs, they could double this thing. It could be 34-24. They should have made it 10. Then I might have picked the Colts. But I can't. Colts have been that bad. I have no reason to trust them. None whatsoever. Next up might be the game of the week. Because the Buffalo Bills, and they have looked like world beaters so far. Don't get me wrong. But they are going into hostile territory. And they've done well in Miami. But let me tell you something. as great as the Buffalo Bills have looked, and they look like the best team top to bottom in the NFL right now, but remember, as we know, this is a marathon. It is not a sprint, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you something. I have been the biggest Tua hater probably on YouTube. I am not a Tua fan. Absolutely not. But I have to give Tua his props for last week. For him to do what he did against Lamar Jackson, man, he was. Tyreek Hill showed you why he was worth that money. He also showed you why I believe when it's time for the money to come up, the Kansas City Chiefs will be going home. And either I'll go one step further right now. The winner of this game, this could be the difference between the AFC Championship being in Miami or in Buffalo. They have played that well, both teams. I know that Josh Allen has looked like the MVP, but I tell you what, Tua has definitely thrown his hat in the ring here. So has Jalen Waddle, so has Tyreek Hill. I tell you what, Tyreek Hill has transformed that offense. And Jalen Waddle is their number one guy, but Tyreek Hill is the most dangerous receiver in all of pro football, bar none. He's not a better receiver than Devontae Adams, but he's more dangerous than Devontae Adams. That speed, you cannot teach speed. And to his accuracy, I have to give it to him. I look, you know what, when you give a quarterback those type of weapons, Josh Allen's not getting into a shootout with Tua, not this year. He gets into a shootout, this loss. Now, they're giving Buffalo 5.5. That's way too many points down in Miami. Way too many points. I think Miami will flat out win the game myself. Miami 37, Buffalo 34, and Bills Mafia will have to be pissed off for another day, so what? And I actually like Buffalo a little bit. But next up, the Detroit Lions, who I actually thought would give it a go against the Commanders. They actually beat them. Good job by them. They've been close so many times. I'm actually glad. Now they go in to take on the Vikings. They always play the Vikings close. And Kirk Cousins is turning into, well, Kirk Cousins. You saw him on Monday night. I don't know why I chose him. I was stupid. I thought he would play better at home, but hey, then I had to remember, damn it, he's Kirk Cousins. Jared Goff has not played terrible. DeAndre Swift has been a wonderful running back. I tell you what, that Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL that no one has heard of. Well, you'll hear about him plenty this Sunday because the Vikings secondary stinks. The Vikings are getting 5.5 for the Vikings at home. Really? Kirk Cousins? Yeah, right. I understand he's got a lot of weapons, but the Lions always play him close. I love the Lions here, 27-24 over the Minnesota Vikings. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how they lost that game. I mean, the first half, the Ravens looked like gangbusters, and Lamar Jackson was just going up and down the field. I tell you what, if they ever gave Lamar Jackson some real weapons, man, could you imagine if he had Tyreek Hill? You don't want to pay Lamar Jackson, I tell you what, the Steelers should back up the truck for him if the Ravens don't want to pay him. Now he goes to New England, and listen, the Patriots, I said the Steelers wouldn't come. I said it. I knew the Steelers were going to botch that game because of Mitch Trubisky. That offense is bad. Not that Matt Jones was world beaters. That pick six to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Matt Jones has regressed. He may have taken a step back. He got bailed out by Nelson Aguilar last week. I think this is a statement game. Now, I know the Ravens are favored by only 3. I understand they're in New England. The Ravens are favored by only 3. Take the Ravens big time. Ravens 31. I think they're going to beat the brakes off of New England 31-20. The next game, the Cincinnati Bengals go into MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets. Another improbable game where the Jets came back to beat the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco, who has actually thrown the football well. Jets' offensive line has done its job, no question. The Bengals, talk about another terrible loss. My God. They gave us a game. I'm telling you, Bengals, you know, we've heard the term from worst to first. The Bengals' offensive line is worse than ours. Ours beating the Steelers. My man, Third Ward Colombian, how you doing, brother? Oh, yeah. I understand. Listen, I understand about Buffalo. You saw what Miami did last week. I have to, and you know I've been on Tua. I was not the biggest Tua fan in the world, but he gets the salute from me. Tua has earned my respect, let me tell you. The way he came back against that Baltimore D, way him, Tyreek Hill, that was a track team. I mean, that's and nobody wants to go down to that Miami Heat, man. 100 degrees. Man, they gave me Dan Marino vibes with that piece. I'm just saying. I know you're a little too young to remember Dan the Man, but that was a gunslinger. Oh, that was one of my favorite quarterbacks, Dan Marino, but I digress. Now, the Bengals know that they cannot afford to go 0-3. And I don't trust the Jets as far as I can throw. But the Bengals getting 4.5 on the road against the Jets, did you not see how the Jets have been? Did you not see what they did to the Cleveland Browns last week? I understand that Joe Burrow's a great quarterback, but, man, that offensive line is dreadful. So far, from what I'm seeing, the Chiefs and Bills are the best teams right now. The Eagles and Bucks are the second best. I tell you what, the Dolphins are not that far behind the way Tyreek Hill, man. And the way Miami played that second half, Miami might be my sleeper pick to go to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. They're that good. And you're right. Even though I think the Tampa Bay Eh. But the Bengals 4.5 is too much. The Jets are going to keep it close at home. I don't think the Jets will beat them, but the Bengals are not covering that spread. I like Cincinnati 27-24 over the Jets. That means if you pick the Jets, you win because they did not cover that 4.5. They have to win by 5 or more. I don't see it. Yes, he has, and I will get to him a little bit later. Jalen Hurts. And I've always liked Jalen Hurts over Tua myself because Jalen Hurts is a leader. I'm not saying Tua isn't, but I tell you what, Tua's accuracy, man. Tyreek Hill knows what he's talking about. Everybody was laughing at him when he said Tua throws a pretty deep ball. His accuracy, I tell you what, it came to fruition that second half. I tell you what, Tyreek Hill knows what the heck he's talking about. He was a soothsayer. He absolutely was. But next up, we have Jalen Hurts and those Philadelphia Eagles. And they're going to take on the Washington Commanders. When Jalen Hurts, the Eagles. Woo! Now, he played as well as he could possibly play. Carson Wentz he's just weird. Now, he played well at home. Not so much on the road. Hey, Miss Philadelphia, good to see you in the chat. How you doing this evening? Always a pleasure to see you. Now, I believe the Eagles are going to win this game, but we know there's some hurt feelings on Carson Wentz. And I do think Washington is going to keep it close. The Eagles 6.5 is a little too much. I tell you what, and I'm not saying that they couldn't cover. I do believe the Eagles will win. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Now, the Eagles, I believe, will win this football game. But 6.5 is just a little too much. Washington keeps it close at home. They're going to be a live dog. I do believe the Eagles win this game 31-27. Yeah. Listen, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I am. I like that A.J. Brown acquisition was everything. Smart move by the Eagles surrounding him with weapons. And Jalen Hurts will do whatever it takes to win. He is you know what, to me, Jalen Hurts would be a quarterback who could play in any era because he's just one of those guys. He doesn't care. As long as his team wins, he can do it handing the ball off. He can do it throwing for big yardage. He doesn't care. Jalen Hurts is a team-first quarterback. He can quarterback my football team any day of the week. I am a huge Jalen Hurts fan. Huge. Next up, another team that let me down was the New Orleans Saints. Saints let me down, man. Jameis Winston looked like the old Jameis Winston that would throw for 5 touchdowns and 6 picks. I'm just saying. That's how he looked last week. Excuse me. Now they go up against the Panthers. Panthers is not that good. We saw him lose to the Giants. That Baker Mayfield experiment is not looking too hot. I mean, Baker's one of those guys. He can keep it close for a while. He can show a couple of flashes. But I just don't Listen, Matt Rule's going to get fired. Yes, my brother. Hope you enjoyed your birthday. And it was his birthday yesterday. I'm not going to tell the age, of course, my brother, but you have many, many more, man. And listen, there's no better brother than that brother right there, let me tell you. No better brother. And your Giants are doing their thing. I see you, man. Panthers. Now, the Saints are getting only 3. Now, I appreciate you, good brother. I'm telling you, they don't make it no better than him. I mean, it's not about YouTube. I can listen. Real life, that's a real stand-up dude. But see, now it's gonna be all about him, man. I ain't doing all that. That's my brother right there. But anyway, I'm going with the Saints. They have to bounce back on that one. Now, listen. You get 3 points, you might as well go for it. I like New Orleans 24-17 over the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. Oh, Red Vines and Popcorn, how you doing this evening? Always a pleasure to see you. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take on the LA Chargers. I am still having a hard time calling them anything but the San Diego Chargers. Now, Justin Herbert's injury could come into play here. I don't know if he'll be ready, game time ready. Nah. I have to get that jersey next. I don't know which one to get. I don't want to get. I mean, I like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. I would love to get a Ronnie Lott jersey. That's a hard one. Ronnie Lott was one of the guys. And I'm sure too big to be Deion Sanders, I'm just saying. But this is all intention of if Justin Herbert plays. Now you're getting 7. And I think that the Jags are going to keep it close anyway. And they looked good last week against the Colts. Okay, you got it. I'll talk to you a little bit later, good brother. And you know what? Do me a favor. Do me a favor, brother, because oh man. I have it on the tip of my tongue, man. The tip of my tongue. It's because I got, you know me, I got to definitely shout you out again, man. In fact, put it in you can drop it in here, man. Because I get a lot of my gift from that brother right there, man. Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the chat. Because he keeps me laced in a lot of stuff, man. And this guy, he's top of the line. He's a real top of the line dude when it comes to this stuff, man. I think the Chargers are 7. That's too much. I do believe the Chargers win it even without, if they're going to play even without Justin Herbert. Even if Herbert was playing, it's close. If Herbert's playing, they win by 3. If Herbert's not playing, Jags can win it. Either way, take the dog, 27-24. But yeah, make sure to leave it in the comment section, man, so I can highlight it. Please do that, because I'm away from everything right now. So next up, the LA Rams. They have not played like defending Super Bowl champs, let me tell you. They have sort of sleepwalked through this. And they're taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray was outstanding last week. I mean, that might be his signature game. He was outstanding. Now, I do believe that Arizona is going to keep it close. They have more weapons than people think. Hollywood Brown. I mean, they obviously miss Hopkins. But what he did last week against the Las Vegas Raiders was absolutely amazing. The Rams barely won last week. They could have lost that game. Stafford has not played great. He hasn't. Now, the Rams are favored by 3.5. Arizona's going to be a live dog, especially after last week. Now, I understand that Aaron Donald could wreck the game. And we haven't seen Aaron Donald play like Aaron Donald yet. But I just like the way that Kyler Murray's playing. And this could be a game where they rally around him again. Always in the division. Those are two teams that have really bad blood against each other. I do believe the Rams win it, but Arizona keeps it close. You're getting 3.5. Take the Cardinals at home. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons. You talk about a team that's kept it close. And listen, they could have beat the Rams last week. They take on the Seattle Seahawks. Well, guess what? Geno Smith played like Geno Smith. Hey, Miss Cheryl Burnett, how's everything? Always a pleasure to see you in the chat as well. And Seattle's been running the football well, and their defense has held up pretty good. But I like the way Marcus Mariota's playing. You know who's disappointed me for the Falcons? Kyle Pitts, the tight end. He has not had a big game yet. And I think he's due for one. Atlanta's defense has stiffened up a little bit, but they still give up the big play. They just can't see. Man, you already know. And I tell you what, this could be a quick hook for one Mitch Trubisky if he starts to stick up the joint again. But going back here, I like Mariota. I like the Atlanta Falcons. I tell you what, the Falcons they're always one of those close but no cigar teams. But I think they finally break through and win this particular game, 30-24. Seattle is favored by 1.5. Yeah, right. They're not winning this football game. I understand the 12th man. I understand all that. Atlanta's winning this in the upset spectrum. 30-24. Now the Green Bay Packers are taking on Tom Brady and the Mike Evans-less Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, if this were the regular season, I would go Tampa. If this were the playoffs, I would go Tampa Bay. Because Aaron Rodgers plays so different in the postseason. Now, Tampa Bay is favored at home by 1.5. So that lets you know that they don't even believe that they have a very good chance of winning. The Packers beat the brakes over the Chicago Bears. Tampa Bay did look good in that win against the New Orleans Saints, but I do believe there will be a bit of a letdown, and plus no Mike Evans. That's going to be a big problem for the Tampa Bay Bucs. I do believe the Packers, and I do believe that it's going to come down to Aaron Jones versus Leonard Fournette. And right now, I like Aaron Jones better than I like Leonard Fournette. Packers 23, Tampa Bay 20. Another upset special. I have a few upsets here tonight. Now, the Sunday night game, the San Francisco 49ers are headed to Denver to take on the Broncos. Turns out that was the smart move, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, that's your grandson's team? Well, I wish he did wrong in the Super Bowl against the Steelers all those years ago. He played a perfect game. Steelers lost by only 6 points. Thanks a lot, Rashard Mendenhall, or else we have 7 Lombardis. But, yeah, I'm still bitter. And listen, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers never wins another game, but I digress. You know what? Russell Wilson is still look not quite like Russell Wilson. He made a couple of plays and they were able to eke out a victory last week. But he hasn't really played well. Nothing like seeing that San Francisco secondary to get everything back in perspective. Now, I understand that Bosa and the gang could mess up the game, but Russell Wilson has to pick it up. I believe that he'll start clicking. It's around this time that he starts to get familiar with his teammates. I still trust Russ more than I trust Jimmy G. Now, you're only getting one. So to me, it's easy to take Denver here. 27-23 over the 49ers. And I know my man Native Guy is waiting for this one. That's the Monday night game where the Dallas Cowboys take on the New York Football Giants. And a little bit of history. The reason they're called the New York Football Giants, many, many moons ago in the 50s, you know, the New York had the New York Baseball Giants, which is where Willie Mays got his start. In fact, the Giants were a part of the National League East. Well, the National League, excuse me. In the 1890s up until 1958, when they followed the Dodgers to the West Coast and became the San Francisco 49ers. So there was a New York Giants baseball team and a New York Giants football team. And they are taking on the Cowboys and their backup quarterback. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, man, Dallas' backup quarterback plays just about as well as Daniel Jones. And you might You might be right. But Daniel Jones has played a lot better than he did last year. And it's good to see Saquon Barkley healthy. The Giants are a different team when Saquon is on it. Now they have to use that Kadarius Toney more. They have to throw the ball further down the field. Stop dinking and dunking. But I have to give the Giants defense credit. They have played much better than I anticipated them to do. Now, they did play Tennessee and the Carolina Panthers. Not exactly offensive juggernauts, but you know what? Nor is Cooper Rush. And listen, Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been Ezekiel Elliott for quite some time. He's been missing since about 2017. The Giants are favored by 1.5. Let's go, Giants. 24-20. How about them Cowgirls? They won last week. They're going to take this L this week. I know my sister's not going to appreciate that, but hey, that's just how it is. And ladies and gentlemen, those are my NFL picks for Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. I would like to thank Mr. Native Gadite, Cheryl Burnett, Third Ward Columbia, Red Vines and Popcorn, Miss Philadelphia, and everyone who has taken the time, Michelle's daughter, I can't forget you, and everyone who has taken the time out to join me this evening. I thank you all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to show some love to the host with the most, then feel free to do so. And cash app your Uncle Claude. All donations are appreciated, but a like will do just as well. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure again to like, share, and subscribe. Uncle Claude signing out. Stay safe. Take care. Peace and blessings to all. And I'll see you soon, everyone. Good night.